Before you go on another online dating app, let me tell you these 3 things that may make your life a little easier. Hi, my name is Tyler. I am a part-time freelance software developer, content creator, and indie game developer. And here we explore ways of being productive that are simple, yet impactful, one step at a time. It's been about 2 years since I had actually started using dating apps and about a year since I had stopped using it because I have a girlfriend now. Yay! For context, I didn't have any dating experience at all throughout high school, throughout college. Yeah, I didn't know anything. And there are a few things that I wish I'd known when I was doing all this online dating stuff, because there was a lot of time where I just wasn't making full use of it, and I wish I had done that before. I feel like I wasted a lot of time that helped me learn, but if I had known it this earlier, it would have saved me a lot of energy and time. The first lesson I learned was paying for the subscription for the app. This is just my personal take, but I do think that paying for the app made a huge difference. Yes, I'm not suggesting everyone splurge their money and pay dating apps so that way you can make your life easier, because there are a lot of people that use the free one, and the free thing is usable at the end of the day. However, I did find that having limitations on number of matches and just not being able to take it seriously was the hard part. And I think the free version is good if you're trying not to spend a lot of time on the app, like if you're just sort of almost like window shopping in a way. But I do think having skin in the game and having paid for the stuff, I think if you're serious about finding a person and finding someone you click with and putting in the time, I do think paying for the app is well worth the money. Because like if you're not serious and you're just sort of half-baked doing it, and you just end up being limited by the app. No, it's not to say that you shouldn't have limits and boundaries of, okay, maybe I shouldn't spend my whole day on the app. I should have other things I'm doing, because people like people that have a life going on in their life and doing stuff and career and money, because money is also really important. Now with that slightly controversial take out of the way, lesson 2. Please be at somewhat good at conversations. And there's a really simple way to actually fix that. There have been so many times where I've just gotten a hi, how are you? Or just a hi, and it's just so boring. You could ask something else. And what I'm trying to say is, please don't ask questions that are really simple to answer, or just avoid yes or no questions when you can, because it's super easy for either party to just cop out and just say a yes or a no, or yeah, I'm good, or whatever. And then the conversation just dies, and you have to find a way to revive this stupid conversation over. Because at that point, it's like, do you want to invest time if the person is not asking good conversational question? And I am guilty of this, especially in the beginning. But there are a lot of people that when I talked to them just didn't talk well. And also maybe it's just because maybe people are just really bad at text conversations, I don't know. I personally just ask, what do you like doing in your free time, or what do you just enjoy spending your time doing? Because it's such an open-ended question which can go to work, it can go to hobbies, it can go to any interests that person has. And it also makes it better because if you ask about work, it kind of gets a little interviewy, a little forced conversational feeling. But like if you actually just ask how did they spend their time, they can choose to talk about work if they want, because it's not like I'm networking and be like, what do you do for work? Oh, you do that? Oh, I do this for work and whatnot. And also on a related note, actually have stuff interesting on your profile, because I can't really start a conversation if I have nothing to go off of. And I have seen some really bad profiles, and I'm not gonna name names or list it out, but just have something that the person can ask about, have an interest of something, have a personal belief, a value. Say something about yourself, because at the end of the day, those things that you put in your profile are going to be ways to ice break, ways to start conversations, ways for you to connect at the end of the day. And also for the people that aren't serious, and this kind of ties back to the last thing, if people aren't actually having engaging conversations, you can just filter them out at that point. Like, it's not worth talking with them at that point. Lesson 3 for me is go on more dates, and there's kind of 2 parts to this. The first part essentially is the asking out part. because I used to be really scared of asking people out because I didn't know if it was the right thing or the right choice, and I was just kind of scared of being weird for some bizarre reason that only I and maybe one other person probably felt. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are also scared, just like me. And I'm sure a lot of people were thankful for me just to be the one to actually initiate. And also, if you just always talk on the app, the conversation ends up just dying. And so you miss out on an opportunity to maybe find a meaningful connection. And this isn't just limited to guys or girls or anything in between. Just ask. And stay safe as well. But ask, because you're only cheating yourself out at life. But the second part is you just won't know until you meet them. Like, yes, we could take a lot from a profile, and yes, we can interpret it, but also people are really bad at making profiles, so you can't really judge off of that too. But a lot of context and a lot of body language and a lot of feeling gets lost in text. And even from my text, when I text people, like, I do feel like sometimes the meaning is misconstrued, the meaning, the emotion, the intent, and often it's a lot easier to understand that in person when you're talking to someone face to face. And so even if I'm not 100% sure, I will still at least meet the person as long as I'm like, think, oh, they seem cool, I'll give it a try. And more often than not, that's actually given me a lot of good experiences because, oh, I would have never met this person's really cool. I ended up making friends with a couple people too as a result. You just never know what will happen, because the irony is that someone who's also good on paper and a profile can also be someone really bad. So that's why it's really important to meet people. Don't overthink it, just go in, see what happens. Maybe it can lead to something, but at least keep an open mind. And also just don't regret, like, what if I went out with this person? What if I met up with them? What would you would answer that question, you would never have that regret of like, what if? And I want to tack on just one more thing related to going on dates, and that's going on a second date. Even if you're not sure, or if you think maybe it couldn't be, unless the person's really weird, or they come off really aggressive, or they try to touch you or whatever, I still recommend going on a second date with someone despite not being sure, because often people are on their best behavior. I certainly am very nervous and on my best behavior, and so I feel like I toned down a lot of myself personally. And so going on the second date sort of gets past, oh, we already met, so we don't have to worry about first impressions anymore, and let's see what happens. And I found that after that second time usually gives me a better idea of, okay, does this feel right? Do I like this person? Do I want to hang out, be around them more, hang out with them? Yada yada yada. And also I feel like it's easy to judge a book by its cover. So second dates, for me personally, are mandatory, unless I know for sure I don't want to go on a second date, or if it's just really awkward. But then again, life is awkward. We're all awkward in some ways. First dates are awkward always. But yes, what I'm trying to say is that online dating is a skill. And I hope these 3 things help you in your dating journey, wherever you're at right now. And from the experience, I learned that you don't have to be perfect. You just gotta try and you gotta do. Pun intended. But you only really learn from action at the end of the day, and not that kind of action. Yet on a related note of learning lots of stuff in my 20s, here's a video of actually me talking about what I learned in my 20s. If you're interested, take a look. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video, or this video, or wherever you end up next. Peace.